Ash Magisteria is one of the best dungeons to farm, especially for Raider gear. And today I want to bring you a speed comp to farm Hell Stage 3 in Ash Magisteria, so you can farm yourself not only the very good Raider gear that is used in mid to end game, but also you can farm yourself Fabled gear for the extra stats. Jumping in to Hell Stage 3, here is my speed comp. This speed comp is about 1.5 to 1 minute 45 seconds per run, and it works out really nice. So here is the team. We have Ciara, we have Opal, we have Nathalia, and William. None of these need to be 70, but it does help. If you do have any of these heroes at 70, it does help. And also, if you have books, that will help as well. Now, for spells, I am using Sundering Purgatory and Gaia's Renewal. Sundering Purgatory, we're going to use because of William's ultimate. It only has 80% chance to land defense down. And Gaia's Renewal, we're going to use because if defense down does not land, that tends to domino effect into Opal taking more damage. And we are going to need to use Gaia's Renewal to keep her alive because she's not in a guard set. Now, the first thing you'll notice is Ciara's skills are turned off and she is going first. We're going to have her skills turned off for the extra added damage, for the increased damage, for the debuff that she places. Increased damage taken plus 30% on one enemy. Next, we're going to have William go, and there is a specific reason for that. Ideally, you want William to go first for the defense down. However, the boss will target the hero with the highest health with the bomb, and that's going to be William. And so what I've noticed is that is really, really close to the bomb blowing up. So I've increased the speed on Ciara just a little bit to make sure that Ciara goes first to get a little bit of extra damage before the bomb explodes. And that is just enough to get this done. Now, one thing I want to mention is, as I mentioned, this is not 100% success rate, and the reason for that is because of William's ultimate ability, and that has an 80% chance to place defense down. And I want to pause it right here. As you notice right here, the two imps on the left, and there's a couple of, I think, one imp on the right. So 3 imps did not get the defense down ability, and that can cause us some issues. The good news is we did get it on Ash Magisteria on the boss, and that works out really well. So there is room to improvement here, and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Let's go ahead back on auto. Opal is going to do her thing. Now, Opal's got the joint attacks. Nathalia is going to nuke everybody. Ciara is going to use her AoE, or her passive, I should say. Now, unfortunately, we got some heroes alive, but the counterattack should take care of that. We got some of the imps alive. And we're going to pause it one more time really, really quickly here. Right here is where we are going to pause it. So this is the turn with the flame bomb coming on, and this is your gauge. This is going to be your guide. Right here, you need to be around the 3x HP on the boss. Right now, I'm at ×2 health bars. Right now, as you can see, there's an X2. That is his second health bar. You need to be somewhere getting close. If you are on the 3rd health bar and it's very, very close, that is fine. If you are on 2, that is good as well. This is going to be your gauge. If you are still working on the 3rd health bar and you are nowhere near taking him down, that is not going to work. So you need to push more damage. So that is something that I've experimented with. Here we go. We have 2 turns left on the bomb, and right here we need to completely destroy his secondary health bar, and we are going to work on that. Now, for this to be successful on this turn, his secondary health bar needs to go away. And there we go. We are down to his final, and we are actually working our way through his last HP. We got 1 turn left on William. We still got Opal to go. Opal to take her turn. There goes Ciara with the proc because Ash Magisteria is under 50%. And this right here, we should finish Ciara, Opal, as soon as William takes his turn. If we don't have enough damage done, the comp is gonna blow up. And there we go. We got it done just like that. The normal run takes between 1 minute 30 and 1 minute 45 without me pausing and stopping to explain. So one thing I want to do is I want to show you a run one more time. I want to show you this run, and then we're going to talk about some stats. All right, so let's jump into it. I'm going to leave it completely on auto. We're going to talk about their stats. We're going to talk a little bit about why this comp fails. As I mentioned before, William's ultimate has 80% chance to place defense down. So if you want this to be 100%, William does need to get booked. Now I know books are very difficult to get. It does take a long time. However, this is Ash Magisteria Hell Stage 3, and we are running a speed comp to farm for Fabled gear. So the requirements are pretty high. Now, as they do their thing, one thing I also want to mention is I have a couple of 70s. Ciara doesn't need to be 70. I ran this comp with Ciara and Opal at 60. Nathalia is my best, so she's at 70. All right, jumping back in, there we go. Ciara is going to do the debuff, and right here we need to land defense down, and we do get lucky. Most of them we miss one imp, which is okay. Sometimes we get unlucky where we miss almost all of them and the comp fails. So this is not 100% until we get William fully booked, and that's going to take some time. We can do that. My only booked hero right now is Nathalia, and I have no more books, and that took a lot of work. So as I've mentioned before, here is your guide with the bomb coming out. You need to be very, very close to finishing off his third health, right? And as you can see, we are on his second health bar already. So that is something you can play around with. I've played around with this comp for quite some time, and I've tried to boost their damage more and more as I went to make sure that we could finish him off. And right here, he's on his last health bar. This should be no issues. He's got the defense down. He's got the increased damage taken. And of course, we got Opal giving the joint attacks as well. And that should be all set. There we go. And we're finishing the run just like that. Let's go ahead and look at the time. We're going to finish this run, see the time. Average duration on that one was 2 minutes. Usually it's between 1 minute 30 and 1:45. But I am recording on a laptop, so OBS is using a little bit of that power. All right, let's jump into stats and gear. I want to take some time, want to take this a little bit slower and talk about stats and gear. William is level 60. There's room for improvement. I could probably make him 70, and I want to look at his gear. Now, gear, what I'm worried about gear here, or what I'm focused on with gear here is stats. I am not worried about the gear set at all. I am really focused on getting stats. And as you can see, I'm still experimenting with some of his gear. The weapon is only a 6. The chest is only a 9. And right now he's in 2 raptor sets. And that is because I tried to get him some focus. I tried to get over 100 focus. And that is the only way I can do it. And as I've mentioned before, William does need to have the highest HP in this battle. And he most likely will, unless you've built him for damage. And I don't see the reason for that. So his speed is 182. There is lots of room there. He can be faster. He can be a little bit slower. But I made him go almost first. The only reason he is not first, and as I mentioned before, I had him first. And the bomb explodes sometimes when he takes his final turn and the rest of the heroes haven't gone. So by placing Ciara before William, Ciara does get that one more extra damage. One more extra round of damage, and then Opal follows and joins in, and that gives me just enough damage to take him down. Now, glyphs, of course, are all done. Let's look at his books. He's got no books. He's got full ascensions. He got no books at all. And what I want to talk about really briefly here is his ultimate. Now, his ultimate deals damage. It deals 100% damage to all enemies with an 80% chance to apply. For this run to be 100% successful, he does need to be maxed out. Unlock level cap mastery, which will give you level 7 on his ultimate skill, and the chance versus the main target increased to 100. As I've mentioned before, this is not a very cheap comp to do, but if you focus one book at a time, like I did with Nathalia, you can get there. And if you are okay with running a 90% success rate like I am, that will be okay. At least we can run a speed comp and farm for Fabled gear. Moving on to Ciara. Now, Ciara right now has no books. Oh, excuse me. Ciara has 2 books. I tried to get a little bit of extra damage out of her because I don't have enough. Now, this is very, very tricky. This is a very highly required comp. This is I don't want to say expensive, but it does require lots of stats. So the first thing I want to mention is Ciara is in an assassin set. An assassin set helps her deal more damage and to have a couple of additional turns, hopefully. if they proc. Now, the rhyme and reason for this gear is stats. I primarily focus on stats before I focus on sets, and here are her stats. Let's go ahead and look at her stats. Her attack is 4480. Her speed is 200. She is in speed boots. She does not need to be. Her crit rate is 100% as it needs to be. Her crit damage is at 243. One thing I did try to do here is I did try to take her out of speed boots. However, I cannot hit 100% crit rate. Or if I do, she is very, very slow. So right now we're going to lock those and we're going to save them. This, as I mentioned before, you need very good stats. You need to roll good stats on your gear. Some of these stats are fairly good. They are not amazing, but they are fairly good, like the triple crit rate here. So that helps out as well. The stat requirement for this comp is fairly high. Now, if you can put her in an assassin set, if you cannot, go ahead and try to push her damage closer to 300. I personally was not able to get her damage close to 300 because she doesn't have books. She doesn't have really all of her ascensions. So I tried to do the best I could to put her in an assassin set, and that works out well. I did take her to 70 as well, just for the extra speed, because I did try to put her in attack percentage boots to make her hit harder. However, her speed was just still way too slow. Moving on to Opal. Opal looks like Tracer. She is really good. Opal is in one assassin set, one raider set. That took a lot of work to get her in attack percentage boots and to make her fast enough to go first for her ultimate. Her ultimate ability deals 200% damage to an enemy and grants one joint attack for one turn. It also extends the joint attack for one turn upon defeating any enemy. So this is a key. You want her defeating an enemy and you want her going first to put on that joint attack on herself. Let's go back to her gear. As I mentioned, she's in one raider set, one assassin set. I did have her in an assassin set with speed boots, non-raider speed boots. However, her damage was not high enough. She has no books. If she had books, I'm sure she would hit like a truck, and I'm sure the run would be a lot faster. Now, I am very limited on resources. The only one that's fully booked is Nathalia, and that is it, and that took a lot of work. I just fully booked her today, and I wanted to bring you this comp. If we go ahead and look at Opal's stats, Opal's got 4,700 attacks, so there's lots of room for improvement there. We can try to push her over 5,000, hopefully closer to 5,500. Her health is very, very low, and that is the reason for Gaia's renewal in our comp, in our run. Unfortunately, I wish I had more health on her, but if she was over 15,000, 16,000 health, we could probably run the damaging spell, but because her health is very, very low, we do need Gaia's renewal to keep her alive. Her speed is at 175, which is okay, which makes her go just before Nathalia, which is fine. Her crit rate is a little bit over high, but her crit damage is at 236. That is very, very low, and I could not get her crit damage over 250. I've really tried my best, and because I could not get her crit damage over 250, I ended up putting her in an assassin set. I barely had enough pieces to put her in an assassin set to try and squeeze a little more damage, so there's lots of room for improvement there. She is also not level 70. If we make her level 70, her stats go up, as well as her speed, and we can most likely re-gear her a little bit. Glyphs are maxed out, of course. Abilities are maxed out, of course. Moving on to the best hero in this comp, in my opinion, or I should say the best geared hero. She is my best geared hero, Nathalia. Nathalia is in one guard set and two raider sets to make her go a little bit quicker so she can do some damage. I do use her in arena as well, and that is what she's wearing right now. If we go ahead and look at her stats, she is level 70. She's got 5,500 attack. She's got almost 16,000 HP. Her speed is 170, which is fairly good. She can be faster, but she does not need to. Her crit rate is capped a little bit too high, and her crit damage is 323. Now, what allowed me to get her crit damage this high is, of course, all of the books. If we look at her ascension, she is fully ascended. She is fully maxed out, and that's helping there. And I just finished putting all the books on her today, and what actually helped is the 8% crit rate up here and the 15% crit rate up number 2 on the ability. So that helped a lot. with the added crit rate, I was able to focus more on her crit damage because this gave me enough crit rate to be able to push her over 300. Then, of course, we get bonus stats from all of the gear enhancements and all of the physique enhancements. We do get a 20% crit damage up here. We also get a boost to health, a boost to defense, and a boost to attack. So books are very, very important on your best damage dealing hero if you have them. If not, continue to farm events and continue to get books as I am doing. All her glyphs are fully maxed out. You've seen all of her stats already. And because her glyphs are fully maxed out, we are actually allowed one extra cooldown reduction on Arcane Nova, as well as the passive. We get an attack up for 1 turn on her passive, and her basic does 10% extra damage, and that allows us to clear Ash Magisteria Hell Stage 3 in 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, somewhere in that range. So I went over all of their stats, I went over all of their gear. There is lots of room for improvement here. First thing, what can we do to improve this run? Now, the first thing we can do to improve this run is, of course, books on William. William's books, if we max out all of his books and get the ultimate to 100% chance to apply defense down, that will make sure that this run is 100%, to make sure that we do kill the imps, and to make sure that we land defense down on the boss, because sometimes that misses. That is the first thing we can improve, and that is the first thing you can work on. The next thing we can improve on in this comp is the gear. Right now, Ciara is in an assassin boot set, but she's in speed boots. I would like to put her in attack percentage boots. However, if I do that, she becomes way too slow. And as you can see, she's at 170%, and that is not enough. Her attack goes up, but 170 speed, I should say, not I said percent, because I was looking at crit rate and crit damage. She goes down to 170 speed, which means I need to put her in one more Raider set. And right now, I just don't have the Raider set to be able to hit the good stats or to be able to push her over 250% crit damage. When I put her in these boots with another Raider set, I either cannot get the crit rate that I need, or the crit damage goes down way too much. So there is room for improvement there. And of course, if I book her, there's a lot of room for improvement there as well. So there's lots of room for improvement. The other thing that I could possibly do is finish ascending all of my heroes, right? Opal is only ascended enough to get her speed. And I can also level Opal to 70. That will help to take her to 70. And as you can see, all of her basic stats go up. Her attack will go up. Her health will go up as well. Defense and speed. So I can squeeze out some more speed out of her. Give her a little bit more survivability. So maybe I don't need to run Gaia's Renewal. And of course, her attack will go up, allowing her to hit much harder. So there it is. There's the comp. There are all of the stats on the heroes. I know that this is a pretty intense gear requirement comp. You do need high stats, but we are farming Ash Magisteria Hell Stage 3, and it is a speed comp. So I hope this video was helpful. Leave me some nice comments down below. Let me know if this comp was helpful. Let me know if you are going to try to make this work. Also, hit the like and the subscribe down below. And for more helpful videos like this, check out the top right.